So welcome back, and let's talk more about this documentary there, Forest Under Siege. Now we're told that several forests are under the, overutilization of illegal miners. The illegal miners have invaded these forests and have degraded them. Now Ghana says we want to be a champion of climate change, but the carbon cover that we're looking for are provided for by these, forests. So if these forests are being depleted, then of course, where are we going to get the cover from? But that's a conversation that we need to have. Again, we know that illegal miners have invaded these, forests when we do have the Forestry Commission to protect them. Let's bring in Elizabeth Alua Va. She's Executive Director for the Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group. Elizabeth, good morning. Hello? Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I'm not well because of the sort of distraction that some of our forests are experiencing. What can you point to being the fact or the factor that has led to us being where we are?
What has led to us being where we are? I think we have just looked on and allowed our forests to be pillaged. When I got the invite to speak, initially I was like, what new things am I going to say to make any difference? Because as Ghanaians, we have become, We have become, right now, nothing moves us anymore. We have become numbed to everything that we see. So I wasn't too sure what was going to be new from me. But when I looked at your documentary and saw what Erastus has had to go through with his team, in spite of the risk to himself, to continue to present to us what is happening to our forest, I had to come in. So what have we done? We have looked on and allowed the most extensive destruction of our forest, mostly the primary rainforest, to be destroyed. I checked up a few statistics, and from 2001 to 2022, we have lost 1.53 million hectares of forest cover in Ghana. This is 22% decrease in whatever forest cover we used to have, resulting in 843 metric tons of CO2 emissions that we could have stopped from happening. And the top two regions, incidentally, are my own Western region. Right now it's Western and Western North, but for this period it's Western region. And then the Ashanti region. The two of them contribute to 58% of the destruction. So we just looked on, and our Forestry Commission has been, I think, the biggest culprit. We just looked on and allowed our forests to degrade.
So if we have just looked on, maybe people are not getting, we're not making it, we're not breaking it down to get to their level. Why must all of us as Ghanaians be worried, or be concerned by what is happening?
We have to be because, some of this, especially the primary rainforest, the virgin forest, we're never going to get it back. No matter how many trees we plant. It's a lot easier to take care of the land that we already have, the forest that is mature, already there, established, than to plant new ones. How many of the new ones we plant even survive? How many of the new ones that we plant even survive? And they will throw around statistics, we planted 10 million trees, whatever. Do we really have those trees? And do we know how much of that is going to survive? So the onus is on us to protect what we already have. Right now, green is actually making people a lot more. Countries are earning more money from their green vegetation than even the mining that we claim to be doing. So we have to rethink. We have to move things around.
And these monies that are earned come directly to the country, not to companies that are mining, right? And therefore, that should be our focus, to earn more money.
Exactly. Something that what Dara said that really, really got to me was we are allowing private companies to not only destroy our country, our communities, and our future, we are allowing them to make all that money, leave all those that degradation there. And then the government of Ghana goes to the World Bank, takes grants or loans to supposedly come and fix these things that private people caused. They will come and fix this. I don't even know if they will even fix that. They would take the money in the name of fixing it, use it for whatever they want, and it's our children, ourselves, the very poor people that they are stealing from, that are then going to have to pay these loans. And even if it's a grant that we don't pay, you know, $1 million that is used to develop a school or develop a community, it's better than using that money to supposedly go and fix something that a private person, a private company did, most of whom are foreigners, by the way. So we are not really making anything out of this mining, supposedly, the alluvial mining that we are doing. You know, when we had our cocoa, and I'm a product of the Ghana Cocoa Scholarships. When we had our cocoa, it was owned by individuals mostly, and it was for the greater good of Ghanaians. But now, as we destroy our forests, individuals benefit, and then it comes to the detriment of the Ghanaian. It just doesn't make sense.
So is there an issue of regulatory bodies not doing their work, or it is an issue of lack of employment, so rural communities would allow anybody to pillage, you know, the natural resources at the detriment of the environment?
It's not about employment. Everybody who says that that's just a smoke screen. When our people did the galamsey, they weren't using excavators. So it's not about employment. Right now, the galamsey that they were doing with their pickaxes and stuff, even employed more people. It was more sustainable because they were going underground. Than what they're doing now with 10 excavators, you can clear how many hectares of a forest within a week, even a week. And within 3 months, they've degraded the place, they've left the holes, they've left the pits unfilled, and then moved on to the next one. So really, what kind of job is this creating? It's not job creation. We're just, you know, mindlessly destroying so that a few people are going to benefit. And the one thing that has been the biggest problem for us is the so-called community mining. I think that in some of our communities, I'm from Elambale, and in some of those communities, you know, our DCE and the people who are supposedly connected to the government, they think of community mining and they think it's the panacea to the galamsey, forgetting that the community mining is the biggest culprit. Because, I mean, where has there been a community mine that has been nicely, properly done according to the rules, and then you know, and the land has been restored? I haven't seen one. The Forestry Commission has just looked on. I recently circulated a letter allowing the Ashanti East Forest Reserve, giving a forest entry permit to a company to go and mine the Ashanti East Forest Reserve. It's like you know, the person in charge of security taking a gun and then spraying the people that they are supposed to protect. It doesn't make sense. The regulatory regime in Ghana is not working. The people who are supposed to be protecting our environment, protecting our forests, the Forestry Commission, the Minerals Commission that is supposed to, oversee the people that they license, they just give the license and stay in Accra. Even if they go underground, you don't really see anything that they are doing. I cited a letter recently of the Minerals Commission requesting Okobe mining to not mine certain areas. I mean, it's a request. The EPA, in your documentary, the Forestry Commission was telling the cocoyam farmer to do this, do that, while at the same time allowing several excavators in the forest to pillage. You look at the trees that have been felled and left in the mud. These guys, they should all be scrapped, because whatever they are doing, they are not really helping the country.
You mentioned the Western region, and I'm told that the Cape 3 Point Forest Reserve is also going through the same treatment, where we have illegal miners mining in this forest. What must local communities also do here? That's
a good one. One thing I left out when it comes to the regulatory regime, our parliament. Our parliament sat there and then approved a bill, LI 2462, that is supposed to, what has it done? It allows mining in globally significant biodiversity areas, which means Atiwa Forest can be mined. It allowed no limit in how much of a forest reserve can be mined. Before then, it was 2%. You cannot mine more than 2%. Because our government wanted to allow more people to mine the forest reserves, not just forests, the forest reserves. They put in an LI that says you don't have a limit to how much of that forest you can mine, and entry permit requirements and all of that has been relaxed. And then when you mine a forest, there is no stringent requirement that you reforest, you restore it. And our parliament went ahead and approved this at the blind side of most Ghanaians. Now, then what is their role? What exactly are they doing in that parliament? They've all failed us. When it comes to local communities, and this is where I have also come to realize with my organization that, Ghanaians, the Ghana government, our parliament, they don't really care. So where does the onus lie? The last stance that our people, our forests have, is our people, the local communities. And they said you have to put your money where your mouth is. Within my community, in Alambla, in Nzema in general, I've been very active on various platforms, letting people know, and we see the effect of it. Recently, just last week, together with our king, King Kekwaka III, we have a writ has been filed to stop 1K and S mining, and then some individuals, including the chief of a community called Asanda, from mining.
Oh, okay.
This is community effort. The people heard of it, and then they notified us together with the Nzema platform that I'm on, that is called Nzema Kunyele Eku, like Nzema Union.
Yeah. And
we've made sure that we raise funds from within the community, Nzema's home and abroad, who care so much, to make sure that an injunction is filed. We're waiting for them to respond, because nobody is going to help you. They come in and they just come with our police, our security service, to destroy the forest. You are a security person, and you are there watching a community's livelihood to be destroyed, forest reserves to be destroyed, and what do you get from it? Our security services have let us down. Our government has let us down. Sometimes our own chiefs have let us down. So we as communities have to come together. Right now, fortunately, thanks to social media, it's not that difficult to organize. So we on our own are trying to do that. As an organization, the Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group, we are working together with our sister organization, Eco-Conscious Citizens, and the support of Irocha and others, to support those local youth, those youth who have stood up and said, no, we can't let you destroy our communities. Even then, it's a tough job because the security force in the communities, in the districts, in most cases are working against.
Well, we are on with Aluava. She's an environmentalist. We're talking about the destruction that our environment is witnessing. Now, on Facebook, Dr. Peter Sam says, Ebri Kitase Ajementi Berikuso are all experiencing this destruction. Okay. Thank you for joining us with those comments. Keep them coming in. I'll read it. I'll share it with the rest of our viewers. We'll be getting Aluava shortly so we can continue with our conversation. But the point is that all of us have a responsibility, a role to play here to ensure that we safeguard our environment. Okay, so Dr. Peter Sam says, Ebri Kitase Ajimenti Berikusu are all undergoing massive deforestation. Developers cutting trees to build houses. Stop tree cutting. Okay, thank you for that. Let me bring in this one. Raymond Abiwo says Akufo-Addo and his government are responsible for the destruction of our forests are witnessing. Once power changes hand, Wontumi must be charged to pay for the destruction he has caused to our forest reserves. Ghana needs about $20 billion to fix the damage done to our forest. Okay, I've edited some of your words because some of them are not friendly to the airwaves. Good morning, Joy, watching live inside Shana Katui in the Upper East Region. Okay, grateful. You can go onto Facebook and leave your comment there. I'll share that with the rest of our listeners. Okay, so Aluava, great to have you back. I wanted to speak in Zima with you, but I guess that we can speak it after. You were making a point about what the community can do. You said some of our chiefs have failed us, and therefore we have to do things in order to safeguard the environment when the line dropped.
Yes. So what we are doing in my community, especially in Elambla, if you remember, the DCE went live in March 2023 to say that he has secured 300 acres of land for community mining as a means of providing jobs. And so right now he started, community after community, just going, bringing people in to go and do the so-called community mining. The one place they've started is Asenda. And Asenda is smack between the Ankobra River that has been destroyed beyond restoration, the Subile of Apamprama Forest that has been destroyed, and then a few other streams. So we said no. The people there themselves said no, we are not going to allow this. And then they came to us, our Nzima community group, and then with also the support of the Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group, the platform that I have, and then we connected with our King Kekuaka III, and right now a rate has been placed on them. So they have built their, they have built their shed and all of that ready to operate, but then the rate has been filed to prevent them from doing that. These are regular people who have come together and done this. You cannot watch your community because you are sitting in Accra, never even been to your home community, to just sit idle. We have to organize around our communities, mobilize the people, and then support them to stand up and fight for their communities. You need to go there, even if you're never from there. Go see where your grandmother grew up as a child. Walk the path that she walked, and feel for the people that are there. Do the least you can to help them. we are encouraging them, sensitizing them to know that we have no other home to go to but those communities. And once they are gone, they're gone. The mercury and cyanide, how are you going to take that out of the land once it's been in it? It will be decades. We can't allow that. So we are mobilizing, using my own community as an example, and I'm asking everybody, those in the communities, to do same. Our chiefs, again, and I must tip my hat off to Otumfuo for what he started doing. Otumfuo, your region, together with the Western region, account for the most forest cover loss. In many places, it's still going on. Adansi, Adokwa, those areas, Manfi, some places that the people are helpless. So please, don't wait for the small chiefs that are not doing their job. The bigger ones also within your ranks, call them out, take back your community, because this destruction, it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. There are some very good chiefs that are helping out. There's a chief in a small town called Jima in the Awoyin district. That he is sick, he is frail, but he said, you are not going to buy me or my community with any money. So that community within the Awoyin district, there's no community mining. They have a signpost there. No community mining, no galamsey. They are thriving.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay. Let's bring in Daryl Bosu, who is Deputy Director at Arocha, Ghana. Daryl, you've been in this for quite some time. It looks like we are not winning. What must change about this whole fight to safeguard the environment?
Good morning, Kojo, and I would extend my greetings to audience as well as to Elizabeth on the line. I think you asked a very, very important question. I recall that somewhere in 2021, there was this small-scale mining dialogue organized across the region. And one of the key recommendations coming from those dialogues was that we need to bring those politically exposed persons to book. And even prior to that, we saw at 995, which was an amendment to the Listed Minerals and Mining Act, really making it even more stringent and deterrent in terms of the fines and penalties for people who are found culpable in engaging in illegality, particularly focusing on people who are politically connected, the financiers, the people who are bringing the equipment and all of that. I think we put in place the necessary legal mechanisms or framework to ensure that we really nip these menace in the bud. But what we have seen time and again is that our government has failed in making sure that this is done. And for me, if we are going to take any action that is going to be decisive enough to bring about a halt to this kind of menace, then we need to go back to the drawing board. By really referring to our existing legal framework and making sure that we implement them as we should. What I'm, however, sad to say is that I am not seeing that commitment on the part of this government to take the same laws they have implemented or enacted and work with it. And that is how come we keep seeing the kind of impunity that we are seeing all over the place, without any action being taken against them, even though there are clear legal provisions that say that this constitutes a crime against the state. So if you ask me, I would say we need to start working with our laws, but at this moment, I don't have confidence in the leadership to bring about that change. We need to change the leadership leading the charge. And this cuts across almost most of the agencies that are responsible for ensuring that we regulate mining. We ensure that the areas that are supposed to be protected from mining are also excluded as it should. It includes all the people who are in charge of positions and are responsible for that. I recall the president saying that if a DC or MCE who is found culpable, you are going to lose your position. We've not seen that happen at all. And again, we have not seen people, CEOs or deputy directors or whoever, who has actually supervised or superintended over some of these legalities. Until we do that, we'll keep coming back to this discussion over and over again. So for me, I think there's a leadership gap. And I don't see that being presented to us by this current administration. It's been very abysmal in terms of the way they handle the whole issue.
Do you have confidence that any leader could help us achieve, the sort of protection of the environment as we look out for? What must citizens do to ensure that leaders do what they have to do in protecting the environment?
I think leaders can take action. If you get a good leader, they might take action. We had that confidence in our president, Nana Akufo-Addo, in terms of when he said he was going to commit to protecting our natural heritage on the 7th of January 2017.
Mm-hmm.
But we have not seen that happen now.
Yeah.
And what we need to see more is that I think, like Elizabeth said, we need to see citizens rise up without fear or favor and take back our communities, take back our own rights into our own hands. And this has to do with pursuing both legal action, doing that legitimately, using existing provisions within the Constitution and existing legal framework, and also standing on the demands and also the provisions of the UN Declaration that a healthy environment is the right of every citizen. And already our Constitution guarantees us that right. So I think that citizens should rise up and demand that their leaders are accountable to them in respect of the way they manage the environment for the benefit of all. Until we compel our leaders, they will always sit there and really slack and not do what is needed for us. So I think that the demand from citizens should increase. So far, we have seen some semblance here and there, but I don't think it's enough. We need to see more action from citizens. I think a lot of the time we'll be more passive than very proactive in some of these things. So we need to see more citizens rise up, not just leaving the fight to a few people, but making it the concern of every one of us in our communities, in the city and everywhere. Just imagine, Kojo, if a mining concession was given for a place like East Legon, you can imagine how many voices will rise up against that particular idea.
Yeah.
But when it happens in a rural area, very remote from where we feel we are having the best of life, we don't care. But for right now, as you know, for every mining concession that is given out to a company, we take the money out of people's pockets. Our river bodies are polluted, so we must pay the cost for treating that water for us to drink. Our lands for food crops are also now polluted, so you must pay the health cost of the exposure to heavy metal contamination and all of that. I think there is a lot of that we must all do, and it's to start to win the citizens rising and really demanding our rights. We have not been loud enough. And that's for me what is really derailing the fight against them. Our leaders are just there being very ceremonial about it. And until we demand and ask them to be accountable for the actions they have committed themselves to, we are not going to make any inroads on this.
Fenton Jacob is writing on Facebook. He says, to me, to solve these problems, we must use what I always call community engagement. In that way, Galamsey would stop within 2 months. Have we explored this angle, engaging the communities and letting them understand, like Elizabeth has been portraying, we are losing our primary forest cover, which is posing a lot of danger to all of us. Have we explored that angle where we make the communities see the need that they have to take this fight in their own hands because it borders on all of us? They, especially the communities where this happens.
Well, I need to say that the fact that we are seeing more and more communities rise up and speaking against even community mining in their community is a testimony to the fact that people know about the negative impact of Galamsey.
Okay.
And some of these are, but what is actually happening is that a lot of them are being forced to accept some of these activities happening in their communities. We are using the state agencies, the police unit, we are using the Ministry of Lands, we are using the Minister of Lands and all of that. We use that to coerce communities, and we are using the decentralized political system, the constituency establishment in the community level to push people, first work on the opinion leaders, and then force the youth in some of these communities to accept it, even where there's a clear objection to some of these things. So there's a whole architecture in place by the government to ensure that those who resist will be forced in one way or compelled in one way to accept it. So there's really a system going on that is actually perpetuating and compelling communities to even accept it even when they don't want to. And this also borders on human rights abuses. And this is where we see a lot of the rights of these communities not being respected, particularly where they say they are against community mining. I'm sure you are aware of many cases in the country where some communities have said they don't want community mining, but what we have seen later is that the police have gone to the community, and we have heard a lot of incursions there, and eventually you saw that the community mining was launched eventually in these areas. So there is something going on that is also using the state machinery to push this diabolical agenda. And until all of us support every community that is under siege as a result of this machination, we are really going to get rid of this issue. We need to provide support to every community. It doesn't matter whether they are close to Accra or not. We need to support all communities that are coming under siege from community mining or illegal mining activities. We shouldn't leave it to a few NGOs close to these communities to fight those battles. We need to work together. We need to work in solidarity to support all communities against these illegal activities. And that is the only way we can deal with it. The communities are aware, they are fighting it, they are standing up, and you heard what Elizabeth talked about. A lot of chiefs, some chiefs in the communities, some communities are rising up and they don't want it. But eventually, some forces are compelling them to accept it against their rights. So I think there needs to be a holistic action from citizens, from respecting people's rights, and ensuring that we really protect some of these communities that are coming under siege from this push to get mining, exploration activities, or even community mining in all areas where government wants to, not rather in line with what the community wants.
But is it really about all community mining, or it's about probably the alluvial forms?
You know, Kojo, it starts with, we say all community mining. It starts with, we say let's do community mining here. The fact is that you cannot do mining without using water. Just go across the whole country and look at every community mining in terms of the location and what they are doing there. Most of them, if not 100%, are located close to a river body. And they are making use of the water, either diverting it, abstracting water from the river, or even eventually releasing their polluted water to go through the stream. So if you really want to really deal with it, then you really even need to tackle where we are giving concessions out for people to mine. The government came out to say sometime last year that no mining around river bodies and streams. They are no-go areas, they are red zones. What have we done to that? We are still seeing people mining in these areas. We even set up what we call river gas, something like that.
Yes.
What are they doing? So we just keep turning out one strategy that actually benefits the system, make believe that they are doing something, but if you go around the country, our rivers are still polluted. Nothing is changing. So I think it's not a matter of whether it's alluvial or it's all community mining. It's the way the mining itself is done, the way concessions are given out, the way there is no accountability for the person taking the concession, the way there is no posting of bond for small-scale mining and community miners to rehabilitate the land. It is not every place in this country that needs to be given out for mining. If you follow the temptation of the fact that we have gold all over the country, then we are going to see the case of one of the communities somewhere in the Ashanti Region where they are actually digging under their houses and a lavatory collapsed inside and a woman was trapped in there. I think we can't let this happen. It's actually shameful to see that in this time and age, we see Galamsey going on with this impunity, and we see a system also by government to push strongly whether communities like it or not. I think we really need to go to the drawing board and really ask ourselves whether we need community mining.
Okay.
We had small-scale mining. It was working perfectly, but for a lack of regulation and ensuring enforcement and compliance, it got out of hand. So what we are now trying to address by renaming it and calling it community mining. But otherwise, it's all Galamsey.
I have someone who works at the ministry who sent me this. He says, no community mining scheme is sited close to a river body. So could it be that some people are trying to use that to, perpetuate their crimes by saying they are community mining when in actual fact they are not?
What does it mean by, you need to always get clarification on when you say not close to a river body. Okay, so I'm sure they'll give us information that says that, it's about 50 meters away, it's about 20 meters away. They'll give us that information. So, this is subject to really evidence on the ground. And it's not something we really need to look at. But for most of the community mining initiatives out there, they are connected to rivers. Because they need the water to do their washing. And it's not possible. So if they are not using water, what are they doing? They are digging boreholes and using that to wash the ore. Is that what is happening? I think we need to really be realistic with the issue and then really deal with it. Or if we say it is not this and it is that, this is how can we actually say there is no problem? We know there is a problem.
There are problems. Interesting. But let me bring in Aloha again. So Aloha, we know that the solution is about the communities themselves, like what you've started doing. How do we spread that so that other people elsewhere, like from where I'm coming from, I'm from Ahanta West, Cape 3 Point Forest, I'm told there are some illegal miners in there. How do we get the communities along the path to say that, look, let us take it upon ourselves to prevent anybody from entering this forest to mine?
You almost bring me to tears every time you speak. For those communities, the one you're talking about in your area in Ahanta, I can bet you that your chiefs along that route are in on it. Because you see, in our traditional setup, if you take out the ones where the government and the people who are supposed to be in charge of the process are behind it, the other people, they won't just come in and go to the forest and start digging. They know that they cannot do that. They will come to the chief, they will come and see some elders within the community. So we need to reach them. And some of these people, we need to really let everybody know, the ones that are hiding behind their palace walls to collect money and look on and let people come into our rivers and dredge and go to our forest. We need to let the whole community know that this is what this chief is doing, especially if they won't listen. But otherwise, the community together with their chiefs should be able to mobilize. We come in and educate them. I'm sure by now everybody in every community knows that Galamsey or community mining, whatever you call it, it doesn't end well for them. We have shared enough messages, videos, pictures for everybody to know. And anybody who says they can't see social media, so they can't see it, they can just look at the small streams within their communities to see that this is not going to take us anywhere. That to come together and then stand together and then resist this. So if our chiefs are aware and they are looking on, yes, we will be overrun. But even when the chiefs are bribed or in on it, the community should be able to stand up. I got a message from Mansour Memphis. The chief said he's not aware that these guys, just about 2 months ago, they've gone in, they've destroyed, they're actually mining it in the stream that is there, that serves the people, with the promise of giving them boreholes. The youth initially tried to fight it, but they have nowhere to turn. Why? It doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that. And we, those of us from those communities, again, we need to support, like Daryl is saying, these international organizations, even the World Bank and co. They're giving money to this same government to supposedly reclaim the forest and stuff that they have looked on, sometimes actively cause the destruction of. So then I don't even know what their end game is. Let's identify organizations that are helping these communities stand up and support them to do more. And then as we prepare for another election, the sad thing in Ghana is that the people with the passion don't have the power. The people with the power don't have the passion. They don't have any compassion most of the time. So people should stand up and get into political leadership. People who actually care. If you care, get into political leadership and help your people. And let me use this opportunity as well to tell the people on the ground. You don't do the same things over and over and expect different results. The people that come to you, take your vote, they go and then they mess you up. Whether it's destroying your forest, taking what should be coming to you, failing to negotiate properly on your behalf, even when companies are coming over and that sort of thing. You have to change. You have to change. You have to encourage the people who actually care and speak up within your communities to represent you in the district assembly, because that is right now where most of this is happening. We need proper leadership down there, and then all the way up to the top. You keep doing the same thing, taking 200 cities, 50 Ghana cities, putting in place the same people that are destroying you. We are not going to get anywhere because they get the power and they forget about where they come from.
I hope the leaders are listening to us this morning to see, how the people are passionate about this environment. So, in just about wrapping up with you, Aloha, before I bring in Daryl, what will be your charge to the Ghanaian youth, for example, as we wrap up?
The Ghanaian youth, and I doff my hat off to a few youth in the communities that we've been working with. Semkrom youth, Atronsu youth against Galamsey and community mining. Ejura, but in Zema we call it Ejura. Ejura youth are mobilizing as well, and Zema youth are mobilizing. We need to take our communities back because look, the people that are destroying it, their children are not even living there. Their children are not coming to stay in the mercury and cyanide infested communities with you, and they themselves are also going to be dying off. Relatively, they will die before you. So you are going to bear the brunt of this destruction. If you want to look on and watch the continued destruction just because you get a few cities today, you are also culpable. Let us stand up. Let's mobilize, come together, take back our communities. These guys in Accra and these guys that, you've given them power and they are sitting in Accra, they don't care so much. Because if they cared, they wouldn't, for instance, allow LI 2462 to be passed. And since we brought it to their attention, and here I'm making an appeal to the minority in Parliament, do something. We want to see LI 2462 removed, suspended, cancelled, and do something. Speak up for your communities. Speak up for your communities, support the people. The police, the security forces that were protecting those people who were destroying the forest, that Rastas has told us about several times. Nothing's happened to them. Look at, what's his name? Duka. Honorable Duka went to say that Ankobra was being restored. It was a palpable lie. Erastus exposed him. Nothing's happened to him. Nothing is going to happen under this government. So you come together, take back your communities, and let's get a renewal. Because at this rate, if we don't if there's no renewal at the base within the communities, they will continue to take advantage of us, they will continue to destroy us, and we will also have ourselves to blame for looking on or participating in this destruction. Trust me, whatever you think you gain out of this destruction is nothing compared to what's coming to you.
Elizabeth Alua Va, grateful talking to you. That's on the same matter, like.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Daryl, so in just about wrapping up, what would be your parting message? The message that would get the Ghanaian youth to probably say, this is my fight and I need to take it up.
Yes, I think we have seen all the environmental destruction around us. And we have also heard of the, I would say, associated health issues. We have to really take it very seriously because as we speak, our health is seriously compromised already because we are exposed to these heavy metal contents already through the food that we eat, the water that we are consuming and all of that. So I believe that if you don't care about the environment, let's think about our health. There are several cases of increasing incidence of kidney disease, and we've had medical scientists confirm some of these observations and make the appropriate linkages. I think we cannot rest on them. It doesn't matter how rich you become, but if you die in no time, then what is the point? And I think this issue of health and also for now and the future is something we really need to think about. Again, it has even become more important because, as you know, we say we are really dealing with climate change, we are dealing with biodiversity laws and all of that. These are all crucial for our future. If we don't deal with Galamsey, we'll have no environment tomorrow to claim to provide us for food, to provide us food, to provide us water. So I believe that every youth in this country should speak up, should let their voices be heard, and should be seen to be supporting others who find themselves caught up in some of these environmental degradation and destruction that is going on. We cannot sit without being concerned about what is happening.
All right.
It just won't be for our own good. We need to do something about it.
Thank you very much. Daryl Bosu is Deputy Director for Arocha, Ghana. Aluava is the Executive Director for the Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group. Well,